UFC 294 was a shit show, plain and simple. It was such a shit show that I just had to make a video about how much of a shit show it was. It all started before the event. Main event, canceled. Co-main, canceled. Feature fight, canceled. This did not bode well for the rest of the card. No one wants to travel to Abu Dhabi because they know, you know, I know, we all know. Every event held in that part of the world is just a bunch of princes and dictators equivalent of throwing action figures into each other. When pro wrestling events go there, they ask for dead wrestlers. They are the worst type of casual fans. So how did the event turn out? Bad. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up. Sharaputin Magomedov, all this hype for such a mediocre prospect. Don't get me wrong, debuting against Bruno Silva is no small task, but Magomedov has a lot of work to do. Women's strawweight fight. Nathaniel Wood versus Muhammad Naimov. Groin shot, fence grab, groin shot, glove grab. Not 1 point deduction. The glove grab impeded a potentially fight-ending sequence. It should have at least been a draw. Over the last month, I've seen a lot of interviews with Nathaniel, and he seems like a real authentic guy. I can't help but feel like he got screwed in this one. Mike Breeden comes back and gets the knockout, sends Jabli back to the call center. I kid. Too bad Breeden didn't get re-signed. He really went out there and fought like his job depended on it. Time for some more fouls. Groin shot from Dumas. Back of the head shots from Zaitar. Zaitar grabs Dumas's hair. Whole cavalcade of fouls. Really just story of this event. Dumas ends up winning a pretty lackluster decision. Javid Basharat kicked Victor Henry's balls into his leg. And then had the balls to go on a media tirade calling Henry a quitter. What a piece of work, you know? The referee told Henry that it didn't hit the cup as well. It'll be pretty important later. Watching the footage back, and more importantly, listening to the sound, I was one to fully grasp the crack of Javid's foot against Victor's cup. Trevor Peek won a dominant decision. He was throwing standing 12-6 elbows. Certainly one of the most entertaining fighters on the roster. Muhammad Mokaev versus Tim Elliott was lackluster. I get that Elliott is a hard matchup for anyone at flyweight, and I think that there's an argument to be made that Tim could have won this fight. Mokaev didn't do any damage on the ground and was constantly playing the game. When Herzog stopped the fight and reset the position, it gave Mokaev the opportunity to explode out of the position and eventually get the submission. Right, move him up the rankings a bit, but I don't think he's worthy of a top 5 opponent quite yet. Saeed Nurmagomedov got a slick submission. Ikram Aliskerov got an easy win. We move up the card to Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. Ankalaev got Walker to the ground and landed an actual illegal knee. And then the dumbass doctor from earlier asks Johnny where he is. Does Johnny say A, Etihad Arena, B, Abu Dhabi, C, Disneyland, or D, the desert? If you pick D, that sure is one lucky guess. Now, Johnny Walker is probably autistic, and there's also a pretty heavy language barrier. These are not ideal conditions for high-stakes trivia. Johnny still wanted to fight Magomed and almost started a brawl. This is yet another blow to an already cursed light heavyweight division. At least it's been rebooked. Khamzat Chimaev versus Kamaru Usman was up next, and it was very close. Khamzat is the best one-round fighter in the UFC, but if you can make it past the first 5 minutes, just like with Burns, it becomes very close. Usman came off the couch with no knees and brought the fight to Khamzat. Chimaev is in a place where he could have jumped the queue and fought Strickland, but this lackluster performance set him down the pecking order. And then, the main event. Volk comes in on 11 days' notice. The fight starts, and there's a brief feeling out process, and then boom! Head kick knockout. I slam my laptop shut. A tear rolls down my cheek. I can deny it no longer. Makhachev is the best fighter on the planet. The only pay-per-view from this year that is about as bad as this one is UFC 288, but at least that one had the heavyweight GOAT, Parker Porter. The card was built to allow for one ethnicity to win as many fights as possible, and the UFC was successful. The event will be remembered for its bad officiating, room temperature IQ level doctor, and short notice fights. But most importantly, the card will be remembered as a shit show. If you enjoyed this video, any support it gets is greatly appreciated. Have a good time.